All right, everybody. Now we have a really special treat for you. What me and Elton is going to show you now is how to deal with a rapid depressurization and an emergency descent. Okay, this is something you've probably seen in the newspapers or heard about. That's when something happens, the pressurization inside of the aircraft rapidly disappears. The masks will drop for the passengers in the back, and the passengers who would have seen this or felt this would have felt like the aircraft is suddenly falling out of the sky. And this is what we're going to show, what's actually happening up in the front now. So pay close attention to how we divide the roles. So when the warning happens, how we deal with the initial failure, how we then decide what to do, and who is executing what. Okay, that's very important. You ready, Elton?
Ready.
Okay, let's go.
Wind 31016, everyone right, right on. Third wind 310.
Delta 26, reduce.
Stop. Up. Mask on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening to you. 1.2.
Yeah, I heard you perfectly. State malfunction.
So, you have marker caution overhead. Pressurization at zero differential pressure.
So, rapid depressurization memory objects and kill them out.
Position at center, manual, outflow valve, full close, pressurization with uncontrollable, showing 0 psi differential pressure.
Okay, remove the hand please, and let's do a emergency descent.
Emergency descent. Oxygen are on. Seatbelts are on. And continuous. Pressure warning.
Stupid 993D, you've got 120, stupid 993.
Mayday. Mentour 360. Emergency descent. Recast local QNH and descending 10,000 feet.
Mentour 360, your Mayday recorded at time 1413, descend 10,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Descending 10,000 feet on QNH 1005. Mentour 360.
Okay, perfect. I want the rapid depressurization and emergency descent, non-normal checklist please, and my controls.
Set QNH 1005.
QNH 1005 set, reading 33,000 feet, descending 10,000 feet.
Set.
And it doesn't feel like there's any structural problem with the aircraft, so I'm going to increase the speed, okay?
Set.
Aaron 5 November, flying flight level 1.
Cabin altitude warning or rapid depressurization. Cabin altitude, yes, we have the right. Ready for the condition? Landmark mode of the curve. The cabin altitude exceeded. Will flight, the intermittent cabin altitude configuration warning sounds, but the cabin altitude light is started and rapidly illuminate. We have the right. Some oxygen masks and sector greater to 100%. Establish crew communications.
Yeah, we have.
Pressurization mode selected. Manual. Manual. Outflow valve switch. Hold in close until the outflow valve indicates fully closed. Fully closed. If the cabin altitude is uncontrollable, passenger side. On. Oxygen feet on. On. Go to the emergency descent checklist on page 01. Cabin altitude warning checklist completed.
Perfect, continue to please, and I have the communication.
Emergency descent checklist. Ready for the condition?
Go ahead.
Condition. When an overflow occurs, cabin altitude cannot be controlled. A rapid descent is needed. Announce the emergency descent. The pilot flying will advise the cabin crew on the PA system of intrinsic rapid descent.
Yeah, I did that.
The pilot monitoring will advise ATC and obtain the area altimeter settings. Passenger signs on. Without a right descent to the lowest altitude or 10,000 feet, whichever is higher.
Yeah, we checked the MSA at the area as well, 2,500 feet. 10,000 feet should be okay.
Engine start switch, boat, continuous. Continuous. Thrust reverse boat, reduce thrust to minimum or as needed to 20 knots. Speed brake, 5 to 10. If structural utility is in doubt, limit speed as much as possible under wide eye maneuvering roads.
Yeah, we discussed that. We don't feel any vibrations, anything like that, so we can keep it at 330 knots.
Excellent. Set target speed to MMO, VLO.
Yeah, I keep 330 and we just passed 20,000 feet.
Set low pressure to level of altitude.
Can you stop it there and take the engine and the ice on, please?
Engine on jet is on now.
Thank you. Continue.
When approaching the level of altitude, smoothly lower the speed brake lever to the down descent and level off. And thrust and stabilize on altitude and airspeed.
Okay, so we'll start doing that at 2,000 feet to go.
Keep it 170, 300 degrees, climb level 160.
See it? And United.
Engine.
On Manchester, Mentour 360, we will be turning right onto heading on 150 degrees to keep us in the area of Manchester.
Mentour 360, heading 150 degrees approved.
Turning right, Mentour 360.
Good to go.
Runner
Check.
1542, climb up 110. Runner 9 Foxtrot Charlie, comes up on
1 to go.
Check.
Runner 1542, comes up on 121.225. Bye.
May I continue?
Yep, it looks like they're current altitude at 10,000 feet. Please continue.
Crew oxygen regulators normal. Flight crew must use oxygen when cabin altitude is above 10,000 feet to conserve oxygen more than regulated to normal. I think we can remove the masks. What do you think?
What do you say? What they say? Does it mention anything else?
Doesn't say anything else on this one.
Okay, so the way we will do this is that I can take the controls on the radio, I already have it, and you can remove your oxygen.
Only oxygen.
With the headset.
Speed 1 turn left heading 260 degrees. Left heading 260 degrees. Speed 1 report that heading to London at 135 decimal. 135 decimal.
Yeah, you're reading at 5, and is everything feeling okay? Do you smell anything?
No, I don't smell anything and I can breathe normally. I think you can make the...
Perfect, so I'll hand over the controls to you. So we've got MCP speed, heading select, altitude hold at 10,000 feet with command A engaged. Your controls?
Control.
Your radio.
Ready.
115 reduced to 160. 75 extra left report you're heading to London at 130 decimal 925. Bye.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Perfect. So I'll take back the controls and you can complete the checklist if there's anything left.
NCT speed heading south to go 10,000 feet.
Okay. My controls.
Engine start switches both as needed.
Tower 21 to go.
You can off.
Yeah. And what I'll do as well is since we still have the cabin altitude warning here, I'll try to get us down to maybe 9,000 feet or so.
Okay.
And my radio.
Manchester
controller. Mentour 360, request further descent 9,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Mentour 360, that's approved. You can descend altitude 9,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Descending 9,000 feet, Mentour 360. Set.
9,000 check.
Take a careful vertical speed descent here. Sorry, continue.
The crew, the new course of action is based on weather, oxygen, fuel remaining, and available airports. Use of long-range cruise may be needed.
Okay.
End of checklist.
Perfect. Okay, Elton, before I speak to the crew, how do you perceive the situation?
Okay.
How do you feel? What do you think has happened?
I think everything is under control now. Cabin altitude still at 10,000 feet, we'll be descending to 9,000. We have the QNH, everything is under control. I don't feel any vibrations on the plane.
Good.
We have Manchester nearby, maybe we can proceed there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what I'm going to do is let the aircraft level off at 9,000 feet here, and then I'm going to call number 1 to the flight deck. That will get the passengers, the cabin crew off their oxygen masks, and I'll ask them about the general situation in the back before we give them a NITS briefing. Okay. Okay. So I'll hand you the controls: MCT speed, heading select, vertical speed, command A, just leveling off at 9,000 feet. Your controls. Your radios.
Great.
Number 1 to the flight deck.
Number 1 standing by.
Okay, this is the captain speaking. I just want a status report on how everyone is doing in back. Can you see any damage to the aircraft, and is anyone hurt or anyone complaining?
Yes, we noticed the masks dropping. We noticed and heard the emergency descent PA. We haven't heard or seen anything structurally wrong with the aircraft. There are a few passengers that are afraid, and some of them complaining about light ear pains, but there's nothing serious.
Okay, that's understood. So no one is complaining more than a little bit of ear pains. That would be normal. We had rapid depressurization. We don't know exactly what reason for it was. Me and my first officer, we're going to discuss what to do. And as soon as we have the plan clear, I'm going to call you back with a NITS briefing. Is that understood?
Yes, that's all understood. I'll be standing by for your NITS brief.
Perfect, call you back. Okay, so she told me that there was passengers that were afraid. Obviously, they were complaining about ear pains, but she couldn't see any structural damage to the aircraft. There was no one that was badly hurt. No one is injured that way. So that means that we have a little bit of time. So the nature of the problem we know. And what do you think? What should our intentions be at this point?
I think we should try to land as soon as possible. We are at 9,000 feet. We don't have enough fuel to proceed to our destination if we decide to continue because we are at a much lower altitude. We have Manchester nearby. We can talk to them.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best action is proceeding to Manchester. The weather is fine there. So that's what I think we should do.
That sounds good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to see what, get us a quick route to Manchester to see how much time we have. Then I'll get a NITS briefing, then we'll start setting up for the approach.
Okay, perfect.
You happy with that? So you still have the controls? 20. It's about 18 minutes, 17 minutes from now. Okay, so I'll talk to them. And we'll start asking for vectors very soon. Number 1 to the flight deck.
Number 1 standing by.
Yeah, so this is a NITS briefing. Please listen carefully. The nature of the problem is that we've had a rapid depressurization. We did an emergency descent. The intention is to go back to Manchester to land. The time is, we're looking at about 15 to 16 minutes from now until we're on the ground. Special procedures, I need you to report back to me with cabin secure. Tell me if you find any passengers that's worse off and that need medical attention. And apart from that, there's no other special procedures. So read back, please.
Okay, so the nature of the problem is a rapid depressurization emergency descent. Intention is to go back to Manchester. Time is 15 to 16 minutes from now. Special instructions is just to verify that all the passengers are okay. I'll report back if anyone is severely injured, and we'll give you cabin secure when it's ready.
Yep, that's all correct. The time is now 18:05 to synchronize the watch.
Time 18:05 confirmed.
Perfect. Give me cabin secure. We're going to give you, it's about 12 minutes to landing or 15 minutes to landing at the moment. I'll give you 10 minutes to landing, okay?
Okay, that's all understood. Thank you.
Okay, back on one. That's all understood.
Okay.
So things to think about now as well is as we're descending now, the cabin will descend at the same rate as us. So we'll try to avoid doing too large or too quick descent maneuvers. Maybe keep it below 1,000 feet a minute, which will require us to have a little bit more track miles, but we're fairly low down already. Okay, so you were the pilot flying. Are you happy to fly the approach? Okay, in that case, you can keep the controls. I'll take the radio. I'll talk to the company, tell them that we're coming in and what problem we have, and also talk to ATC and tell them what we think we're doing. Happy?
Should I request it?
Alright guys, so from here on it would be a fairly normal approach. We will set everything up and we will come in and do a normal landing. Obviously we will probably have medical equipment standing by, so ambulance is waiting for us in case some of the passengers have problems with their ears. We would probably taxi in to stand and let the medical personnel have a look and take care of our passengers from that point onward. But from here onwards this would be very, very similar to any normal approach really. We just try to keep the descent rate as low as possible to save the ear pain from passengers and crew. Right guys, I really hope that you liked that. If you want more content like that, more aviation content, well then check this out. I hope that you have subscribed to the channel and that you've highlighted the little notification bell. See you inside of the Mentour Aviation app and have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye bye.